If you like our content about training, then you'll love our programming too. Head to the notes below to grab a free week of general physical preparation. You get unlimited access to me and fresh programming every single week for less than $1 a day.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Hyperformance podcast. Jacob Mosqueda is on leave today. He's just got a few personal dramas, so we send him our wishes. But I'm here with Jamie Smith doing a catch-up.
We're back.
Yes, that's an actual OG variety hour because I was excited to have Jacob on to sort of host both of us, host myself on and you on my podcast. But you know, for long-time listeners, I'm sure they're missing the variety hours because the downloads speak for themselves. Like our podcast was the High Performance podcast was so inconsistent when we were relatively consistent with the Angus and Jamie variety hours, and like our regular episodes were tanking. Just we were down to like 2,000 downloads a month, but these would still do 1,000.
Really?
Yeah.
People love it. I love that.
Oh, also, I just want to just quickly before we get into the show, I want to extend my immense gratitude to the High Performance audience. We've got 6 days left in the month and we just ticked over. This has been our biggest month of downloads this year. So thank you so much. We've been talking about it, how much we've been trying to put effort into not just getting consistent, but just getting high quality guests and just us just talking a bit less drivel and trying to make it more value packed for our listeners. And it seems to be working. It seems to be connecting with everyone. So thank you to our loyal listeners. Thank you to our new listeners. I'm heaps fucking G'd up about it at the moment.
That's awesome, man. I love that.
Yeah. How's your week been?
My week's been a bit up and down. I've had a massive year, man. A huge year. A lot of changes have been going on.
It's funny when you say huge year, I'm sort of thinking like, what has it been this year? Because it's been a huge 4 years. Let's just time frame. Yeah, what's going on this year? Take us back to January.
Well, I became a dad.
Pregnant.
I became a dad.
Were you a dad in Jan?
Yeah, Jan 10th. So basically the start of the year became a dad, and any young parents that are listening or fresh parents that are listening will appreciate just you love a worldview. Changes your worldview. For me, it took about 2 weeks, but within 2 weeks, it had just completely flipped so many of my sort of like just my mental frames around a lot of things in my life. And the biggest one obviously was work and getting serious about work and getting serious about the direction and not so much just
no longer a game.
Yeah, it still is a game, but not so much just having fun with what we're doing. It's actually like, all right, what's the long-term play here now? And we're 8 years into the gym. And I'm 13 years in my 13th year in the industry, but just being a little bit more like, what is the next 10 years going to look like, and how can I be productive in setting up some better things to support myself at a personal level long term with family and all of that sort of stuff. So that was the start of it. And then obviously the biggest change is the training model direction and getting serious about building that and getting serious about how that's going to play out and the longevity of my ideas and all of that. And it's been aggressive, man. I can't remember when we chatted last.
Probably like, was it before I went to New Zealand?
Yeah, I think it might have been just
3 months.
Maybe just like at the start or in the middle of my first intake for the movement mentorship, which was really June 1st was when I got tracking with it. So since then it's been like 4 months and I've launched 2 intakes, completed 2 intakes of the mentorship. The Wormhole has had its pre-launch period, which is wrapping up at the start of November, and that's starting properly. And the programs have gone out and have been really successful. I'm very happy with how those are going, and the feedback's been awesome. The free course just came out. Like, there's been so much, and all of this has just been the foundational business around my ideas for helping coaches, really. So it's just been massive, huge year.
Because we've been talking a lot behind the scenes, like we're both in the middle of huge back end build outs. And I think so you're sort of more towards the end, like you've actually released a lot more of the things
I feel like I'm there
that you've been building out. And we've been sort of talking about how over the next couple of months, you're going to shift much more into a focus on content creation. Be like, all right, I've built out this amazing course and this sick curriculum. Now it's just ultimately how many eyeballs can I get onto it? Before we sort of talk about that sort of shift and sort of what the build out's been, I sort of want to talk about it's interesting when you bring up having a kid changes your worldview, because I watched my brother become a father in 2020. And even when he told me that he was going to have a kid, I immediately got nervous. Like, my he's the closest person in the world for me. He's been like a third parent to me, as well as a best friend. And I was nervous about how I knew that he would rise to the challenge of becoming a father, but I was worried about how it would affect his relationship with me and effectively being a parent and a mentor to me. And then I had a similar sort of feeling with you, but it's been, and that's the thing, it has changed the relationship with my brother, but I've enjoyed sort of just watching like him grow into this sort of different person. But it is sort of interesting just watching someone go through that transition. But then, like, it is this unnecessary fear, because we sort of, as much as we have a friendship, it is this work relationship as well. Whereas for my brother, he's moved out of personal training and sort of stuff like that. And him having the kid, he couldn't do the podcast anymore because we weren't monetizing it at that point. And obviously, like, mine and my brother's personal relationship is as strong as ever, but like, I was sort of like, oh, this will sort of be interesting. I wonder if I will still get to interact with Jamie as much. Because I understand, like, when I have a fucking kid, my priorities will fucking change, and they should change.
What I've actually felt, and I don't know, again, young parents might feel this, the relationship with the certain people in my life has strengthened immensely. The right people, I don't know, like my close friends, my friendships with them is closer. My family, Laura's family, like yourself, like the right people that are around. I don't know, they understand, and they're good. So yeah, I love it. I fucking love it.
Yeah, no, because that's what I was going to say. It's sort of interesting. I feel like in 2024 versus 2023, we're actually interacting more than ever.
Way more. I love it. We have little. I normally call you either on the way to work, on the way home from work, and just chat. It's some of my favorite 10-minute slots.
Yeah, something I would have called you about this morning, but I was like, oh, I'll save it for the podcast. I always, like, as soon as I wake up, I sort of toddle down the street to get my morning coffee down at Finbox. And I always cut through the supermarket. As I'm cutting through the supermarket, I see some guy lock eyes with me, and he starts like walking towards me. He's got this excited look in his face. I'm like, fuck, like, this is like either someone that I know through a schoolmate or someone that I know through music back in the day. Like, just rack my brain. Like, who is this cunt? They seem like a really friendly person. He's like, Angus. He's like, oh my God, like, great to see you. I'm just like, fuck. He's like, oh, I bought your e-com guide and your content guide. It's been fucking phenomenal. Just like, thank you so much. Like, just being posted. Oh, I love it. I was just like, oh, sick. Like,
love it. That's unreal. It's always good.
Yeah. And that in combination with that message yesterday, some bloke downloaded the guide. He's gone up from 1,500 to 40K followers in 2 weeks.
Talk me through this. That can't be right. What the hell's he done?
So, and this is the thing. As much as I knew if I sold enough of these, because the advice is in there is good, that would happen to someone, but that's not even what's meant to happen with the book. Like, that's why even with the guarantee of the book, I'm like, look, before you decide if this book was worth it or not, and if the advice was useful, partake in this 90-day challenge. And then, but even when I was talking to you when I was writing out the book, because I wanted to have some sort of guarantee that people could feel confident in, but I was like, meant to develop an audience that actually has traction and that's actually engaged, and then to convert them into customers. It's not this like 6-week thing. It's not even a 6 month. Let alone a 90-day thing. It's minimum 6 months to 2 years. And I say that in the book, like, to truly implement everything that I talk about in that guide, it is probably 3 to 6 months just to build it out and actualize and get the cogs turning. And then 2 years where I'm like, if you have committed to it, you should absolutely realize some serious fucking gains by that point. But then, like, some people get a little bit luckier than others. Some people probably a little bit more naturally charismatic or have already been engaging in the process to some extent, maybe a little bit more inconsistently. But so very validating I had a few. Yeah. I just messaged him. I was like, sick cunt.
Yeah. What niche is he in? What's he doing?
S&C. And he's good. Okay, so this is the thing, because we talked about this as well, because I've been critical of people putting out a certain type of content and inspiring other people to make really similar content. And you were like, are you nervous about unleashing an army of copycats, but then just like a bunch of dickheads who promote shit sort of training, building huge followings using your thing? I'm like, I'm willing to take the risk because I was like, I told you, I was like, I believe in the GPP community, which may have been an ego thing at the time, but I was right. Because this guy's a sick cunt. He's an awesome S&C coach, just loves training hard. And he's not a GPP copycat in any way. Talks about training differently to me, but there's this overlap in the values, which I really like. Like, go after it, train hard, acknowledge the complexity, but always stay pragmatic.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the episode. I just wanted to take a second to let you know that Angus has poured all of his knowledge on e-commerce and organic content into an ebook, which is now available. If you want to check it out, head to the show notes or the link in Angus's bio. Thanks.
Yeah.
I've since June 1st, so that's kind of when I started I've been more consistent than ever on my personal page. And I've also felt it. I haven't seen like a huge spike. I've definitely got like more followers and stuff. And obviously I'm in probably a different position than most people that would purchase that book and roll through it. I've got a gym, I've got a brand, I've got all those sort of things. But, just being consistent, like that's the one thing I'm still coming back to. I still struggle with more often than not, but it has definitely I've definitely felt it. And you've always been one of the main person. It's you and David Gray. David Gray kind of comes into my life in seasons. We won't chat for like 6 to 9 months. Yeah, exactly. We won't chat for like 6 to 9 months, but then randomly we'll have a month of like good chats and little DMs and stuff. But he's always been like, man, just post. He's like, you'll get distracted, but don't get distracted. Just do the thing. And you're been saying the same thing. And I've been a lot better with it and I'm feeling it as well. So I'm keen to continue.
I have moments of weakness too. I had a couple this week where I was like, oh, like, you posted a podcast clip this morning, like that could be one for the day. But I was like, no, like, what am I doing? I was like, even if I have to squeeze the creative muscle a little bit hard here to push this out, I was like, this thing has facilitated me living the life of my fucking dreams. And obviously I have that. I've had the dopamine hit from it. I've had the positive experience off the back end of it. I know you've experienced the joys and the fruits of content creation before, but yeah, just so bored in. So there was one, when I was in London in January last year, I left my phone in an Uber on a night out and I didn't manage to get it back until after posting time. So that's the only day I've missed. And it's been over 3 years since I started my daily posting. Could be over 4 because it was well before I left for my first trip for the UK. It was at least 6 months. Nah, I got to go back and check it. Yeah. But, and it's just that consistency over time now where I'm like, oh, I've posted literally every single day for like over 1,200 days now. How am I? It'd be impossible for me to not be able to post. I've just proven it to myself so definitively because I've had some rough days. I've had some fucking... And that I think that's like the funnest thing for me is like when it gets caught around other people when they just see me having a real fucking day. And not my life's in ruins. Life's been going pretty good last few years, but had some days and I'll just pull my fucking phone out and go to work and post. I'm like, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. The same way it's like, if you're serious about doing a big squat, sometimes people are like, oh, let's go to fucking pub. You don't need to head to the gym and squat. And you're like, and that's harder. People commit to that. But again, it's the same principle.
Yeah, it very much so. Absolutely. And I'm glad you're in my corner because I don't think I would be where,
Oh, and one other thing I'll say as well, because people are like, oh, does the beef ever get to you? I'm like, no, because like, and Jamie, here's the back end of this. Like when I'm having dramas with someone online, all I say to him is like, I am going to make so much fucking content and I'm just doubling down on my commitment to myself to make content because fuck that cunt. Control the narrative.
I think the quote this week was, I'm going to bury him in content. Bury him in content.
Yeah. And then they'll be like, oh, fuck. Fall off the wagon with the podcast. Oh, they don't post for a couple of days. And then I feel myself getting out in front. And again, a lot of people are like, I got out in front of them. They stopped posting. They stopped podcasting. I'm like, get further out in front.
Yeah, the fucking beef, man. Fuck the beef.
Just let them watch. Let the boy watch.
Too much beef, man. Way too much beef. How's your GPP going? GPP level.
Isn't my personal GPP?
No, the level
GPP
one. The level one.
The content is almost laid out. So I've got to record the lectures and things like that. I would say the content is 80% laid out. I'm a little bit nervous that as I sit down to record it, because I haven't done a practice run, I'll probably do at least 2 run-throughs, probably 3 or 4 run-throughs of each lecture, absolutely nail it. And I'm nervous that as I start to present it to the camera, that then maybe I'll make some adjustments to it then. But I imagine that it'll be pretty obvious what I want to change when I make those adjustments.
Yep.
So I'm hoping.
So there's 6, is there 6 modules?
No, it's more than that. It's more.
Yeah.
Because I've realized that there needed to be other modules. There was things that I was not going to include in it, but then I'm like, no, I do want this to be comprehensive. And we had a sort of talk about it because I didn't want to do a presentation on nutrition, but just by the fact that I did want it to be a holistic offering that covered everything that a relatively new strength and conditioning coach or personal trainer should know. I was like, I want them to have some heuristics and some principles for the nutrition as well. Even if they're not working directly in nutrition with their clients, even if they're outsourcing, it's like we exist in an allied model sort of. And again, like that's why we're touching on, I'm handling the rehab principles and the pain side of things, because again, it's coming at it from the perspective of here's what you need to know as a personal trainer or S&C coach working in an allied model, hopefully cooperatively with physios, chiros, osteos, whatever. Yeah. Shout out to Tom Clark. So he was the one that I outsourced the nutrition lecture to, because again, like the way he talks about nutrition completely overlaps with how I sort of see things and apply my principles to fitness and performance.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I think it'll do really well, man. Absolutely.
You will be able to immerse yourself in the GPP level 1 by the end of the year. And like I said, so with what I was designing, like, you know, in hindsight, the mentorship that I've been teaching for the last 3 years or so, that's going to be much more level 2, level 3 content. I'm very proud of like the ideas that I present in the mentorship, but I've realized that as my following's grown, like, you know, especially when I had an audience under 10K, it was like a lot of highly experienced coaches on average in there, but just I'm realistic. And I noticed the change in the tone of the conversations that are happening in my comment section now that my audience is sort of over or getting close to 50,000 people. So having something where I was like, something where if you've just done your certs in your first couple of years of being a trainer, something to just set you fucking straight. So, you know, you're across up-to-date understanding of what the fuck stress is, what's a modern take on periodization, a nice take on human movement, nutrition. You'll be able to coach plyometrics, Olympic lifting, do things like power training. Again, you'll be able to like deliver like a GPP service. And this is the thing as well, like what I want it to be is, and I said it to you, it's like in a couple of years, maybe even sooner than that, you're going to be looking to hire a trainer for your gym, and some kid's going to come to you that you don't know from a bar of soap, and you're going to be like, all right, talk to me about your experience. He's like, I've got a GPP level 1, and you're going to know exactly what that cunt knows. You go, oh my God, this guy understands bottoms up, top down, reactive approach to periodization, center of mass based support. I can leave them alone with a bunch of runners and take them through a plyo session. They understand high speed running. They understand energy systems, conditioning. They're not going to have people doing carnivore diet or eating off wooden chopping boards or anything like that. They're not going to fucking nocebo someone or anything like that. Yeah, you'll know that because they have a GPP level 1.
It's the foundation.
Yes. Yeah. It's just going to be such a sick foundation. And I was nervous about putting something like that out, a level 1, because I have an ego, and I had this attachment to the idea that really smart coaches follow me and really smart coaches hire me for their education. And what if they purchase my level 1 and they like, oh, I know all this. Oh, this is pretty basic. One, I think a lot of the ideas in the GPP model are so groundbreaking and progressive that they're still going to red pill a lot of coaches who are like 5-10 years in the game. And I still think even if someone like you did it, you would respect the hell out of it. You would look at it and be like, this is fucking sick. Every new trainer should do this. Everyone should be across these principles. I know we share a lot of biases, but yeah, my hope is that even if like some absolute fucking weapon who I idolize purchase that level 1, they'd be just doing it, nodding their head, be like, oh, it's fucking sick. Like, and honestly, everyone says, oh, there's nothing else out there like this. There fucking isn't. There is like, this is fuck, like there's no course you can tell some cunts to go to set himself straight as an S&C coach to like implement, and even as a personal trainer to implement like what I look at as good personal training and what I'm trying to push with this GPP model.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. I think the foundational ideas, and I'm kind of trying to do that with some of the free course things that I've got in there, like just getting people to actually just like elevate their understanding of the foundational principles, and the principles that are broader sweeping. Doesn't really matter where you're applying these things. It's just the experience of coaching people. And
90% of our fucking field doesn't understand what load or stress is, and it's like it's a big part of what we fucking do.
Man, just some real, and that's like my free course. Like it's just like these are the key things that I need you to change the way you.
If you want access to a community of like-minded coaches, head to the notes below and join our free school community. I'm in there every week doing Q&As, and there's plenty of educational content on the way as well.
If you feel like you've taken on those ideas, but you haven't got anything from them other than just thinking about them a little deeper, like that's all I really want you to take from this entry-level stuff, is like just think differently about these core principles. Load is the classic one. Load, stress. For me, tension. Like the amount of people that when I throw up these like swipe posts about like muscle contraction and like zooming out a little bit, like contraction's only part of this thing, and that's the whole bone first versus muscle first lens and all of that sort of, just like thinking slightly differently.
People get so confused though, because we always talk about, these principles, they're so impactful on what you're doing. But then they see us and they're like, no, but you're still just doing squats. You're still just doing deadlifts. I'm like, yeah, it's interesting because it's like you're still using the same methods, but it completely reframes and it completely recontextualizes how you apply them. And some of those things are so invisible when you're just looking at it, but when you're experiencing it as the client and then you're seeing the outcomes on the other end of it and how much better it is, that's when you start drinking the Kool-Aid and be like, oh, this is game-changing shit.
Yep. Absolutely.
And again, the logic is there. It's like what we are doing, we are attempting to apply stress to an organism in a somewhat controlled manner. You need to understand like what that actually fucking is and the things that impact that.
That feed into it. Yeah. It's massive.
And the total load. A bit of allostasis, a little bit of BPS.
A little bit of BPS. Yeah. The BPS is
crazy.
I've actually, Joel Smith reached out again and he asked if I could jump back on, and I went back to find when we did it. And that whole chat with him was on the BPS model. I still can't believe that I introduced him to the BPS model.
I still can't believe, but just this whole fucking narrative, as we love to say, about it, that Poliquin started, that Aussie S&C, Aussie personal trainers like 10 years behind the rest of the field. I'm like, I'm sorry. That is absolutely not the case. Like we are some of the most we are the most forward-thinking cunts in the game. Excuse me. Like, sorry.
Yeah. The sport, fucking, I don't know anything about Poliquin, man. I don't think I've had any Poliquin influence. I obviously have second
method
nature.
Salad.
Is it just methods?
Method salad. Out of date method salad.
Yeah. Definitely out of date. But no, I don't have any of that. The BPS though, you need the BPS as the undertone for everything. Like it just.
But the BPS back in the day was being the guru. Like that was it. Like the BPS was it explains so much of why like the guru thing can work. So that's why it's such a good framework. It helps you explain so much bullshit training, why it could have worked.
Why it works and why all those rehab strategies and stuff, like it's just buy-in. Ultimately, that's what you're talking about. Buy-in, confidence, trust.
Like have you ever had a client with a really out of pocket physio or something like that they just had so much belief in, you just let them go to it? I trained someone who used to go to a literal fucking witch doctor and he was like, fixes it every time. I was like, whatever, just crazy. Get it fixed. Yeah, hell yeah.
100%. No, we just had one. He's a younger kid. He's probably like 21. Savage. Did push pull run. Benches like nearly 140 at like 75, 77 kilos or something. Deadlifts like 240. Ran like a 504 or something, 505 for the mile.
What?
He's a weapon. And he had some ongoing back pain and drama, and saw two different physios, and we were trying to help him with some stuff. And then he went to this other physio, and the guy was like, yeah, I know exactly what this is. You need to do these 3 exercises. And it's like a clam variation, like a hanging extension based thing and something else. And within 2 sessions, he's like, man, I've never felt this good. I'm like, yeah, crazy. If it worked, like chip through it, go through it, just make sure.
Let's not unpack this.
Yeah, like it's not worth it. And then also, but then I'm like bleeding in some of the other
coach?
stuff. I'm like, no, he's not a coach. No.
Okay.
And then as he's going through it, I was just like, man, just make sure that when you're feeling good, you don't do too much too soon and get ahead of yourself and all of that. And like starting to bleed some just general principles into him. But yeah, absolutely. You can't shred every narrative all the time. And you just create friction if you do. If you try to just become that person that tells everyone they're wrong and their ideas are wrong, firstly, who are you to say that everyone's ideas are wrong? And then secondly, you just create friction and the people then lose trust. And then all of a sudden they don't want to share with you. They don't want to tell you what's actually going on because they feel that you're just going to like bite at them and tell them they're wrong and doing the wrong thing. It's like, no, you just want to make it as smooth and as frictionless as possible for coaching.
Did you see, because on my post where I was like, you don't have to tell your client that toning isn't real. It's like so many fucking big accounts. Like Johnny Candido was like, what do you mean? Like, can't just fucking let your clients believe misinformation. Like, yeah. And then like, they don't understand. It's like, they don't understand how much you come across like a cunt. And they also don't understand that not all misinformation is going to lead to bad outcomes.
Harmful.
And it's on a sliding scale and you have an opportunity to win their trust over time. And then you have so much more leverage in shaping their beliefs. Guess who was the big account that did agree with me? Again, Johnny Candido never worked in a general pop gym, and it fucking showed in that moment. All the big accounts, they were just shouting out how much they have never actually done the fucking thing and been in the trenches. Of course, Ben Bruno, he sees the post, he's like, this is fucking bang on, 100% agree. Trainer to fucking Justin Timberlake, NBA players, all the fucking stars. And what do you think fucking when Chelsea Handler or some big fucking celebrity's like, all right, Ben, I want to get toned up. He's like, actually fucking, you can only grow a muscle or shrink a muscle or put on fat or lose fat. It's like, no. He would just be like, I know exactly what you fucking mean. I'm going to have you looking like Jared Butler in 300. Say no more.
I would love to see Ben Bruno's actual client list because they're just the ones that he's allowed to show. There would be so many high level people in there that are like, do not tell anyone that I'm
Justin
here.
Timberlake took Ben Bruno deep sea fishing on JT's birthday. Not Ben's birthday, JT's
Have you
birthday.
had Ben on?
No, I need to. He only followed me like a couple of months ago. And I also wonder if the way I am might deter him. He definitely likes some of my ideas, but just I'm a bit hectic. And sometimes when I reach out to people, they're like, oh, look, I just like watching from a distance. I'm about respect.
Yeah, I don't want to get caught up in the.
Because like I think Ben Bruno posts some outdated ideas on training as much as when he agrees with me, I'm like, sick cunt. Like, yeah.
Open. But everyone, yeah. Ben's a
I mean, I don't need to agree 100% with all my mates. It's different for certain people in the industry.
Ben's one of the gold standards, man. Absolutely a weapon. When I finished Cressy, I don't know if I've told this story on this podcast, but Cressy, I had a meeting with him and he was like, normally when people finish the internship, like we try to get them like the next step for them, whether that be like an internship at a college or in the direction that they want to head and all of that. He's like, obviously you're from Australia. We can't really do too much. What do you want to do? And I was like, I really want to go to iFast and meet Mike Robertson and Bill Hartman. And he's like, no worries, I'll make a call. And then I was like, I'm going out to California for 10 days. Is there anyone out there that you could just like a day of shadowing? And Ben Bruno, he said, I'll get Ben Bruno for you. This was like 7-8 years ago, before Ben Bruno, who he is now. And I was like, that would be fucking sick. And we had it all planned. And then something happened with Ben and he was like, I can't do it that day anymore. It wasn't going to work. So I didn't get the chance to jump in. But
I don't know what his big explosion was because I only know of two Ben Brunos. There was this like Ben Bruno doing dog crap training on YouTube, just doing these like ridiculous sets of Bulgarian split squats, trap bar deadlifts with like the most dog shit form of just letting everything hang out. Just like, if you want to see a fucking RPE 10, go find a video of Ben Bruno training before 2016, definitely. It might have even been like a good 5 years
earlier.
before. Yeah.
Even like, in 2016, he was starting to get into the celebrity market a little bit. So my knowledge of him at that point was he had interned with Mike Boyle and been very like positive in that community. And then he moved out to LA and was doing stuff there. Yeah.
Just right place, right time, hard worker.
Yeah, exactly. And just a good dude, man.
It seems like a legend. Like, you could have a beer with Ben Bruno, even if you saw training completely differently.
I love his pull workouts with those little pull sticks.
Yeah, because someone actually messaged
my
me.
clients in summer, and it's literally like a fucking like a what are those models with the wings? What are they called? Victoria's Secret model, like in the pool, just pounding fucking these plastic things around, like. Yeah, unreal.
That's definitely smart. Like, because I'm sure he would have dealt with celebrities like, no, I don't want to touch weights. I don't want to get bulky. He would have been like, well, you get in the pool, take away a bit of gravity, or just tone you up nice. Like,
tone him up.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he's a weapon. Someone stole his golf clubs 2 weeks ago, and he wasn't happy. And I was just like, I'll try and message him and see if he responds. He probably won't respond. He probably gets fucking thousands a day.
Oh, he's a fucking big.
He's one of my like gold standards. I got a few gold standards around there, but he's like definitely one of them. Like a Eugene Teo, to me, is a gold standard. A David Gray, gold standard. A Ben Bruno, gold standard. They're just like
institutions.
They're just weapons. Yeah, they're just weapons, man. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if really I'll be remembered people like that. I try my best, but I think I'm just too much of a cunt. Speaking of me being a cunt, so fucking, I want to address this. Do you know? Oh, you wouldn't know this cunt. CISA training. There's this prick, or maybe you saw it when I talked about my GPP standards, and he accused me of lying about my max velocity. So this is another guy, like I've never really been into him, but he's just a huge Angus Bradley dick rider. Like he was always in my DMs being like, man, content's fucking amazing. And like, I don't know, some people when they come in a little bit too hectic and it feels like they're drinking the Kool-Aid too much, it makes me hesitant because I'm like, oh, this is just a crazy Kool-Aid drinker. They're going to flip on me the moment I post about something that they don't agree with. One of the few DMs I actually got back to from this cunt was when he was like, oh, I'm putting together a course. He's like, funny enough, he's like, can you come on and can I interview you about the BPS model for my course I'm selling? I was like, yeah. So I give the cunt an hour of my time, then just go back to not responding to his DMs.
To tell you don't like him. Wow.
No, but I still give up my time for the bloke because, he was riding the meat hard and I was like, oh, fuck, like accidentally opened his DM. All right, I'll sacrifice an hour of my time. Maybe he'll shout me out heaps. It could be good for business. And so anyway, I've said this. So I post my GPP score. So your GPP score is max power clean, max squat, max bench, 20-minute time trial, your max standing vert jump, and your max velocity calculated by your 10-meter fly time. So he accuses me of lying about my max velocity in the same post where I outed myself for having a 16-inch vert. And I'm like, can't.
You surely fucked that burn up.
I did. But that's what I meant. Like, because Jacob was like, should we, do we really want to post that you have a 16-inch vert? And I was like, man, it could be a measurement error. But I was like, it is what it fucking is. We'll tell everyone what it measured out at and I'll just fucking get it up. Like, that's what the brand's about. Not how people don't follow me because I'm the best fucking athlete in the world. They follow me because I talk shit and I have a go. Anyway, so my max velocity, my max PB 10-meter fly is 1.03 seconds. That is still not quite fast enough based on the data that I've seen to run a sub 1200 meters. Sub 1200 meters is nothing fucking crazy. It's quick. It's like the 140 kilo bench of sprint times, I would say. It's like, serious sprinters would be like, okay, it's okay. You can identify as a sprinter at that point. But then like people have obviously gone way fucking quicker than that. He's like, there's no way that you have a 1.03 10-meter fly. And then I'm like, fuck, what's this cunt on about? And I thought this guy was a pretty good athlete because he's got 50,000 followers, known as a bit of an S&C weapon. He's always posting his training and how fucking good it's going. And then I'm looking at his post and he's sort of talking about, he's like, oh, I focused on tibial rotation and I went from running 8.5 meters a second to like 9.3 meters a second. I ran 9.3 meters a second. I'm not a good athlete. I'm actually a slow person my whole life growing up. I ran over 9 meters a second the first time I ever fucking tested my max velocity. It's just like he outed himself for being like so unbelievably. I'm like, how is this cunt so slow? He's like 5'2", so it's definitely hard to have good max velocity. And then I'm looking at his stories talking about like, he's like, oh, fuck, trying to get my squat up, really working on ascending my pelvic floor out of the hole. Cunt's fighting for his fucking life with 100 kilos on his back. I'm like, no wonder this cunt doesn't believe my max velocity because he's so piss weak and such a fucking manlet. Like, you just can't imagine what it's like to have strong legs and a decent stride length. And I'm like, man, fuck this cunt. Oh, no, because like, it's all fine until you accuse me of lying about my very average max velocity. I'm like, fuck you, cunt. Like,
are you going to run a sub 12?
Yeah. So again, I need to take a hair off my max velocity and execute in a race. So I don't know if you know, but like 100 meters, like you can predict your time, assuming you're not completely dog shit out of the blocks and you know how to put together a race. You can almost predict people's 100-meter time based on their max velocity.
Yeah.
There's a lot of data emerging. Shout out to Track Speed Development. I think there's a guy, Lewis Dennison. I could be saying that wrong. There's a lot of people in the Aussie track and field community, the research community that are like investigating this. So probably also around the world, the people that I'm talking to are the Aussies that are sort of involved in it. And so I probably need to get my max velocity like 1.0, very close to 10 meters a second, which would be a 1 second 10 meter fly. Like I said, I'm at 1.03. That's probably, if I run a good race, got me like a hair over 12.
What do you need to do to get 1.03 down to 1?
Well, so a lot of people are saying, I need to just do more max velocity. Like,
yeah, I feel like that.
So this cunt's training is like fucking, he's trying to reinvent the wheel just to get over 9 meters a second. I'm like, mate, you need to fucking get stronger and you need to run more. And you need to stop worrying about what I'm fucking doing.
You can't let these guys get to you so bad, Angus. Come on, man. Oh, wait, before we move on from this guy.
Why? Okay, let me explain why it gets to me. If this was some cunt with 50 followers and a private profile, I wouldn't give a fuck. I wouldn't have even got back to it. Like, I know it's not followers. So this guy's got as many followers as me. He gets fuck all. He gets about a quarter of the interaction. But that's a lot of interaction.
Hang on. We gotta step back, because I said this one of these other variety hours. We can't just bash people. I don't want you just to bash people and all this.
I'm just calling it how it is.
All right, that's fine. I want one positive gratitude-based thing around what have you learned in this interaction with whoever this guy is. I can't remember what it's Scizor. Sounds like a Pokemon. Scizor. Scizor. One gratitude moment around this interaction.
You know what I'd be grateful
go negative
for?
and head spin. What?
I'll be grateful when that cunt signs up for a track meet and runs 13 seconds and apologizes to me.
All right. No true gratitude yet. It will come.
No, genuinely, because that'll happen. Because I'm going to apply pressure to him and be like, okay, so these are my times. Because that's the thing. Even my publicly available time in my first ever meet, where I learned how to use blocks in that race, I ran a 12.6. So that would have been faster than. Probably not faster. That's probably like I would have had to hit with how shit my start was. At minimum, 1.05 10 meter flight through 50 meters there. Oh, no,
that's wild that it's 0.0, but it kind of makes sense. But such a small 0.0 makes a big difference. But it makes sense. It's such
I've been learning a lot about like just how the actual 100 meter play. Like, yeah, it's such a rabbit hole. I'm so G'd up about the track rabbit hole, man. It's not even just the 100 meter rabbit hole. Like,
how fast? The new how much you bench is, what's your 10 meter fly?
Yes. Okay. So this is why we're going in on it with the GPP score, because I talk a lot about how like the hybrid thing, like everyone's doing a lot of long distance running. I'm like, let's bring back some max V. Sprinting is sick. Like in your dreams, no one's winning a marathon. You're winning the 100 meters. Same as like no one's pulling sumo in their dreams. You're pulling conventional for the win.
You're darting
max V in your dreams.
Yeah, you're just dipping the line at the end there.
And I will say, like, this isn't even fuck your half marathons and your 10K fun runs and stuff. Like, not even like if you genuinely love that stuff. I also think there's this huge zone 2 bias that I've been part of, because I think it was a productive conversation for a lot of people. It's like, you're going too hard in cardio. That's why you can't build a gas tank. That's why you fucking hate it. But then there has been a pendulum swing, and I just want to talk about the value of high speed running, even for the longer distance people, because again, there's a lot of people trying to fucking zone 2 and 3 their way to a 20-minute 5K. And like, I mean, even with your mile time at push, pull, run, like I think max velocity is a lot more relevant there. It's like, can you create some efficient, higher speed running shapes? And the way you get a feel and an appreciation for those is just through some high speed running. I'm sick of seeing cunts be like, track day, 8 200s. I'm like, you people, like, you have to shorten it up so you can go faster. And people, you also need time to accelerate once you have a decent max speed. But yeah, especially at the start, it's like you really do need to shorten up that fucking distance. Otherwise, you are not going to hit any good speed.
You never hit it. You never get close to it. Yeah. That makes sense. All right. Well, I'm keen to see you run a sub 12.
I think so. It should happen. So yeah, I'm on
Are you
track.
still doing sessions with Zingini?
Just we've been inconsistent. Just because both busy guys. He's been still competing in powerlifting meets. He's been powerlifting really. He's such a weapon. Like I said, I'm in my second season of doing track. I make friends with a bunch of fucking powerlifters and bring them to the track. So he's got a mate, Sam Tolman, who's like plastic surgeon on the Aussie bobsled team.
Oh, wow.
Powerlifter. Also runs even faster than Joey. So Joey's a powerlifter. Has just been doing straight powerlifting and bodybuilding for 10 years, functional patterns, and be like, that won't be good for the fascial slings. Can't hit 10 meters a second. First ever time at the track. And the thing is, like, he hit that at like 30 meters. So if you have good max velocity, Lance Brooks talked about this last week on the podcast, you will just accelerate for longer. Even if you're good at accelerating, it's like you will just accelerate for longer. But Joey is built obviously for acceleration, got that Subingtain build, and strength training really does, if it's going to carry over to anything, it will carry over to acceleration where the ground contacts are a lot longer. A lot of the ranges can be a lot longer as well, a lot more similar to a sort of squat position.
I feel like he's got the
But he'd hurt himself. That's the only thing we have to watch with Joey. He's such a high torque beast. It's like if we actually got him to do like 4 full 100 meters, he evolves his hip flexor again.
Yeah, he can really elevate his anterior pelvic floor. So
yeah, he's just exhaling through that thing. Yeah. And then his mates even fucking quicker. I'm just there at the track every weekend, fucking dusted. So we'll be
getting
back
dusted by SPPs. This week. But getting dusted by
SPP powerlifters.
Yeah. No, I'm unbelievable. Well, I'm keen to see it. I'm keen to see all this stuff. I'm keen to see the level 1. I'm also keen to see less fucking online beefs from you, man. Less online beefs.
This is a big insecurity of mine. Why is there a perception that I start online beef? I don't know. You're wrong. Yeah. I know this.
I don't think there's a perception that you start them. Or at least I don't think you start them. But I feel like every opportunity you can dive in one, you're in it.
No. Okay. So like, here's how it plays out in my head, because that's where I live. Like sometimes like these big accounts come in and they hop on my dick and they start doing tricks on it. And I'm sort of watching from afar, trying to limit my interaction with them because I have them pegged as volatile people from the start based on how hard they were riding my meat. I'm like, this person just seems like a bit of a Kool-Aid drinker. I don't trust their critical thinking. I'm just going to hang back and gain more. Watch this person, see what they're like. And then some of these people, some people keep riding the meat. I'm like, that's fucking mad. Even if they're not my cup of tea, I'm like, I enjoy the appreciation and the support. Some of these people turn on me. And that's where I get triggered because I'm like, wait, did you think I respected your opinion? And that's like such a bad egotistical reaction. But I can only be honest because like the Atlas thing, like for months, he would just like leave just the dumbest comments in my comment section. I'm like, man, like this is like not what we're even fucking talking about. You just come in and just some drivel about what you were fucking thinking about in the shower that morning. It's like tangentially related to the point I'm trying to make. And then, yeah. So, and you're right, because I know what you're going to say. You just be like, just fucking ignore it and just do your own thing. And I agree with that now. So what do people say? When you wrestle with pigs, you're going to get mud on you. I'm done pig wrestling. Okay, I had my fun.
Done?
Pigging.
You done?
Yeah, I'm done pigging. I'm back to focusing on me, 100%. Right. And then like, thanks to you for pulling my head in. Shout out to my podcast producer, Matt. Shout out to Jacob. Jacob's like sending me graphs of like this mountain. He's like, here's you and here's this cunt. And you're responding to this cunt. I'm like, I know. And he's like, well, if you fucking know that, why are you being this way? And I was like, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
If you acknowledge something, you have to make the change. So yeah. So I don't know. So my only retort is, no, but yeah, you weren't saying I start beef. You were just saying
I don't think you start them.
You're right, okay. I don't like the public perception because I feel like there's other people like, oh, Angus fucking can't handle criticism. And like, I can. It's just like, fuck. Like some of the people that talk shit about you, I'm like, fuck that cunt, man.
Yeah. Nah. Yeah.
And I respect that's part of putting yourself out there. And just one other thing I want to say is like, people make fun of you for, not you, the proverbial, I'm talking about myself. People will make fun of me and other people as well for being like getting triggered or getting emotionally. Like, I am so fine. Like, you gotta give a fuck about something. Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah. I don't know. Just
it's part of my work. Like, yeah, I get emotionally invested. I wear my heart on my fucking sleeve. Like, you're welcome.
Yeah, you care. Absolutely. And you care about your ideas and you care about
that's the only other thing I'll say is like, fuck. We've had some times. Like, it's been funny. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's some funny shit.
Like,
absolutely.
Just fucking, sorry, everyone, you're welcome. Fucking Atlas calling me out and me being like, let's go head to fucking head. However you want it, you can get it. I'll put $1,000 on the line. Like, if that's not doing it for the crowd, and then Atlas being like, he's harassing me, I'm trying to cook my kids breakfast, or I can't fly to Australia for a lift off, or Angus is trying to do a running contest. I'm like, no, cunt. You heard exactly what I fucking said. Sorry, I'm getting triggered again.
Yeah. No more beefs.
And again, entertaining. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, yeah.
Every beef you have, you got to say a moment of gratitude that has come from it. Something that's positive. And the first guy,
you make me contradict yourself.
The competition of bettering yourself and challenging your objective outcomes. I like that. What's your objective gratitude moment from the Atlas beef?
It was funny. It was good content. That was fucking funny. Right. That was fucking funny. And I, like, even though I made a bit of a cunt out of myself, him saying stuff about NBA players struggling.
Oh, the shoe thing.
Like, yeah, okay, good. I brought that to the light. Like, that's enough.
Yeah. I don't know why.
Just quickly, I drafted an apology email to Kaz.
Really? That's a big step. There's some gratitude. All right.
You know, yeah. Okay. So you know why? It was gratitude that led me to that.
Hang on, you've drafted it, but you haven't sent it?
No, I wanted to talk to you.
All right.
I didn't intend on talking to you publicly about it.
Yeah.
Because one of the things and I'm not going to include it. I actually deleted it from the draft already, but off the back of the apology, like I'm going to get Kaz on the show and just have a good faith discussion with him. But I would also like to try to facilitate the debate between you two, like a really good faith debate, just two intellectuals going at it. If you want that,
I'm happy to chat with anyone. Yeah,
just because and again, like part of what I would be hoping to do as part of that whole process is just demonstrate to everyone that I want to contribute positively to this community, like through discussion.
I think you already
good
do,
content.
You definitely do. I don't think you need to go out of your way to do any more of that. You definitely do. But I can understand that approach. I never really
just quickly. So the Kaz thing for me, it was after wrestling with these pigs that I was like, man, Kaz was like very respectful the whole time, considering to me.
Absolutely.
He
didn't have to give you anything. He didn't have to give you.
I took so many shots at him, and then he reached out to me. And at that point, I should have given him more respect because, and I've talked a little bit about this. I felt like I had a spotlight shone on me, and I wasn't ready for it because then I started to doubt myself, and I was like, it doesn't matter if I'm right about these things. He's so much more experienced at debating. He's going to be able to convince everyone. And because he's got such a bigger audience, it won't matter what I say. Everyone's just going to agree with him. And fucking like, even if that was the case, whatever, I should have just fucking fronted up to that and taken that fucking public L. And what, it wouldn't have even been that way because I am smart. I was right. But also like there's a middle ground between me and Kaz that I can do a better job of highlighting as well. So that's when I reach out to him, what's in that draft, just like, hey man, like I just want to apologize, especially for how I was once you went out to reach out to me. Cause I was like, I think you were there in good faith and I didn't give you that benefit of the doubt. I assumed that you were there to make fun of me. And this was all coming from my own insecurity. I'm just really sorry that, you were trying to make content for everyone so that everyone could just clarify their ideas on training. And just mess it up. So I would love to just get you on the show again. And I'm just going to tell him, like, if you're just like, I'm done with this cunt.
Yeah.
We've had our, I'll be like 100%. Like, you don't owe me shit. But I was like, look, if you would do it for me,
Yeah.
Get on the fucking show, get some fucking downloads.
Run them up.
Yeah.
I don't ever feel like I had actual beef with the ideas that Kaz had, because I don't. I have them as like, if you want to really learn around like high level biomechanical hypertrophy training, I think that they are arguably the best in the world at that sort of stuff, without a doubt. And they have some fantastic application based ideas. For some reason, though, with what he latched on with what I had said, was that the governing principles of all of these movement models, and I put him as a movement model, but the governing principles of all of these movement models are 99% the same.
Yeah.
They are. And if you go and learn from these people without drinking the narrative Kool-Aid that they all promote, you can see it.
Ron Huska knows it's a Terry's pull-down.
Yeah, absolutely. Ron Huska knows how to load any of these muscles exactly how you want to load them. He just does them on the ground and wraps a narrative of all this sensory PRI.
He doesn't like lifting heavy. They think that that's a horrible thing to do to yourself.
That video that I put up, I think it's at like 500 views or something like that now. But like the PRI versus N1 narratives and the similarities in the principles, like that, I could play that game with anyone in the industry and any model in the industry. And I was initially going to do one between the Bill Hartman model and the Anatomy Trains model, because when you look into those two models, they're both founded on tensegrity-based ideas. And when you understand what tensegrity-based ideas are founded on, it's all the same principles, which means there's immense overlap between both of the models.
Finding the overlap that's the good shit.
And that's what you need to look for when you're learning these things. You need to look for the central principles, so then you can actually make decisions without having to just follow the methods. Because when all you've got is the algorithmic method-based process to get the outcome, you haven't learnt anything. You've learned how to progress through an algorithm. And that's not thinking, that's not coaching, that's not problem solving, anything. You have to find the principles in what these people are talking. And everyone has the same principles because we're all talking about the same fucking thing. Everyone agrees. It's all the same. So I don't view it as I have beef with Kaz. I think he just misunderstood what I was talking about. And it was fucking 2 years ago now. I don't really give a fuck. I just want people to understand that the principles are so much more in common than any guru is going to tell you.
Yeah.
And I think that's been one of the valuable things from my movement mentorship anyway. At least that's the most common feedback, is like, I can actually see what everyone's on about now. That's the end goal, is like, just get people to actually be able to learn from whoever they want to learn from, but actually get understanding rather than just getting methods.
Yeah. What do you reckon about the Jeff Nippard incident?
Booked, man.
Yeah.
Booked.
Dude, Mike Van Wyck posts like a 16-year-old emo girl, and like dudes are always sharing his videos, being like, man, this guy's fucking so sick.
I don't know anything about him. Again,
so he's Jake's old bodyguard.
Yeah, that was new to me. I didn't know that. Like it's just, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Camera's on. First of all, you got your bloody content guy right there. His content guy right there. Like, what are you doing?
I mean, sorry, no, I'll explain it for you. It's mental illness. Like, there's so many things where like people look at how certain people in this industry behave and they're like, try to make sense of it. I'm like, if you look at it through the lens of mental health, all of it makes heaps more sense.
Yeah. Like, even like, I saw the Nippard post from the day prior that he made. It was like the most
super mob,
the most butter knife attack. It was just like, hey, like, but people say that the science community doesn't get outcomes. Well, these are my outcomes, and I just like it because it gives me grounding to know I'm in the right direction, and people seem to resonate with having some confidence that they're doing the right things, and blah, like the most butter knife response.
It was so mild.
Yeah, and then you get throated twice in the middle of a gym for it.
But then the defenders of Mike are like, fuck around, find out. I'm like, but isn't Mike finding out through the long dick of the law? And he's like, no, but not that finding out, only like the find out in the streets. I'm like, do we live in the real world, or do you just want to live in your ape jungle fantasy? Because we're not in the fucking jungle, cunt. Like, you think you're hard, go to war with the law. Go fight a fucking cop. You think you're a hard man? Like that's how you be a hard cunt. That's how you be king of the jungle in this day and age. I don't want to encourage violence towards public servants, but just to paint the example of like, if you think you're hard, how you prove it. They would like, go be an MMA fighter. There are people who are looking for it if you want to get it.
Bradley Martin.
Before we make too much fun of it, I just want to say, like, you should never put your hands on anyone, like just assaulting people. You can't be doing that unless you're defending yourself. But again, that's not initiating an assault. You should never fucking put your hands on someone, let alone over an opinion on fucking exercise. Having said that, as someone who talks shit about exercise on the internet, I would never walk towards someone who had called me out on the internet with my hands at my waist. Head on a swim. Just always like you wouldn't, for yourself.
You wouldn't see that as a. You wouldn't, if you're in that situation, you wouldn't see that as a threatening situation. You're in the middle of a gym, man. I wouldn't see it as a threatening. If someone walked past you and just and muttered something, and you turn around and say, "Oh, what was that?" Like, I'm not thinking this guy's going to throat me in the middle of the fucking preacher curl stack here. Like, what the hell,
dude? Like, James Smith PT in his second day of the job. This isn't back in the day. This is when no one was running a cash-based business anymore. This is in the Instagram age. One of the trainers who didn't have a successful Instagram account, James Smith's second day in the gym, goes up to him and says, "If you talk to one of my clients again on the gym floor, I'm going to kick you in the fucking head." In his face. Our staff room, our locker room was right next to the PTM. PTM chronically had her door open. She did fucking nothing. Another thing, a trainer, while he was in the middle of a session, open hand slapped another trainer in the middle of the gym floor. And I don't want to out this personal training manager we had at the time said like, "Oh, it's COVID. I just don't know if we could do anything about it," and lied about the CCTV being off.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was like, and so that's when and so also James Smith's boss, a year before he hired James, I didn't like. They were creating a very aggressive prospecting environment in the gym. This little roid monkey PT pimp, he'd have all his minions waiting at the top of the stairs, standing in front of our clients so they couldn't get past them without talking to them. And we're like, mate, this is a white collar corporate gym. You can't be stinking it up. You got to have you got to know how to fucking act. Like, these people, classy people sort of thing. So I walk up to him, "Hey, can we have a conversation about some of the just tactics on the gym floor? We all share a space here. Like, we need some accountability to uplift this together so it's a fair environment for everyone." And he was just like, what did he say? He's like, show me some respect or I'll take your head off. And this was in the middle of the gym floor at lunch. It was heaps funny. It was like 5'5". I burst out into laughter. I did have the right reaction to it. But yeah, man, like, I've had, and then even why I had to leave the gym in Wollongong that I started training people out of, to be fair, like, I was being a dickhead here. I definitely didn't, well, maybe I deserve what I got. I didn't actually get hit. I was the guy who I paid rent to was like, "You can't fucking eat bananas if you want to lose weight." I was like, "Pretty sure you can." He DMs me. He's like, "Meet me out the fucking front of the gym right now." But just to add full context, this guy's 50 years old. But then the other side of the context is he was a sick amateur boxer. So I was like, fuck, like, if I go in and fucking this cunt, I've just laid out a 50-year-old, like, definitely thrown out of the gym. Like, that's not good. Again, it doesn't align with my personal values. Man. So I was like, bro, I'm done. Just cancel my rent. And he was like, "Yeah, that's what I fucking thought." I was like, "Yeah, whatever. Have you."
It was all about bananas. What is with these fucking, mate? I've had no altercations anywhere. Maybe none, nowhere. Never. I got punched in the head at a game.
Yeah,
of footy once. Actually, no, I got punched. I got punched in the forehead on Christmas Eve when I was like 22 at a petrol station with a meat pie in my hand, and the guy was having an argument with the cashier dude, the till operator. And I was like, "Boys, it's Christmas. Can we just get along? Can I pay for this pie?" And he turns around and said, "Fuck you," and punched me in the forehead, just squared in the forehead. That's the only time I've been hit. Out on the street.
The last actual fight I was in is a suburb about 20 minutes up into the bush. It's like notorious for just having like a bit of a weird crowd up there. At a party in Helensburgh, this was like 6 months before I got my first job in the city as a personal trainer. And it was a big party on a farm. And my mate went off to Lil Cottage. She was having sex with a girl that another guy, apparently he had a thing for her. So my mate's asleep, naked beside this girl. And I just see this guy that had been talking, I'd heard saying like hectic things about me. "I'm going to punch his head in." walk off towards the cottage in the middle of the night. And like, this is a rager of a party. I've had an absolute skinful. Go to my mate. I'm like, oh, I just saw that guy with his mates like walk into the room where.
We value your input here at the High Performance Podcast. Head to the SpeakPipe link in the notes below and you can leave us a voicemail where you can ask us a question or leave us a topic for us to explore on the show. We hope to hear from you soon.
Probably asleep or in the middle of having sex with this girl. So I'm like, I should probably just run down there and just see what's going on just in case. I walk into the room. My mate was asleep beside this girl, fully naked. This guy climbed onto him and started laying into him. So me and my mate burst into the room as this is all happening. Huge fucking melee unfolds. And then it sort of just has a moment to settle down. And I just feel so bad. My mate is just there, like fully in fight or flight mode, dick out. There is like 15 guys in this tiny cottage. And I was like, oh my God. All of a sudden, more people start spilling down the hill because they can hear what's going on in this cottage. There's guys walking down with like bits of wood, baseball, and I don't know who's friendly. I don't know who's just there for a fucking scrap. I dreamed this party, so I pile all my mates into my car, just speed off fucking home. It was sorry, bit of overshare. That was last, and that's why I just don't like. I had no interest in fighting a cunt.
Zero.
Anything. Like,
Zero.
Because there's just always a heavier cunt out there. Like,
absolutely.
or the worst thing, multiple cunts.
Yeah. No, it's never the right answer. Never. So yeah, I just can't believe that actually happened. And it happened in the middle of a gym and it happened with a content creator right next to him. And
see, I can.
That just doesn't, I don't know. I'm so far removed from any of those decisions. No.
I can, but I also hope that this horrible public incident, I hope Jeff's okay. But I think he's okay. Oh no, whatever. Like I think it could I think the mental health aspect of it could be like taking a pretty big toll on him because it's just I would not want like that much spotlight on me, even if I felt like I'd conducted myself well in an incident like that.
The whole industry on it,
But I hope it's just a good learning point, not just for content creators, but for everyone, because, and there's been a lot of public commentary around this. We forget there are people who don't want to go into a gym because that is their stereotype of it. The gym is a place for roid monkeys and you might just get sort of smacked. That is a perception of the fitness industry for some people. And the reputation of this industry is so shit on so many different ways. I think we can all, I probably shouldn't be saying this the way I act. No, but I'd like to think I don't hit people.
No, we have to have the gratitude moments. Every time we have to have the gratitude moment. You have to step back and think, all right, what's a positive thing here? It can't always just be, not in this situation, but in the beef world, just what's I'm glad that you're going to email Kaz, man.
Okay, good. No, because I was nervous that you were going to make fun of me for that. But yeah, no. I really, because I just want to say to the bloke, like, hey, thank you for when we disagreed, like actually being willing to sit down. I don't being think, an intelligent person willing to talk.
Yeah, I don't think you should go with the apology, even in the initial email with the let's jump on the podcast and like hash it out. I just think apologize, and if he wants to respond and take, it's up to him if he takes the apology. But there should be
I shouldn't go in looking to get something.
No, yeah, exactly. There should be that, and I can tell that that's not your primary goal with the apology, but I think it's simply just, hey man, like I appreciated you reaching out and being open to discussing with me, and I don't think I put my best foot forward, and I dragged you into something that ultimately you probably should. Like, I think that's all it. And it just is an apology. And then if he responds and he's like, yeah, no worries, man, whatever, like that opens that door. But I don't think there should be any. But I think like apologizing.
For people listening, if there's no fucking podcast or you don't hear anything, don't be like, oh, fuck Kaz for not accepting Angus's apology. It's like, if he just wants to ignore that email, like it's
completely fair. Like it's his, and at the end of the day, man, he didn't need to. You were the one that was incessantly pot-shotting him. Yeah. And like there was no need for him to do it.
He should have ignored me.
I'm blocked. I don't see any of their stuff anymore, but I'm assuming that they're still fucking running through the walls, making crazy impact in that side of the industry. Like he had so like I'm glad you're doing that. I think that's good.
Anyway, I hope everyone found the chat entertaining. Both me and Jamie are up to a lot. But it's all publicly available, so make sure you just follow us on Instagram and you'll see the links to everything. And chat to you next time.
See you later.
If you're sick of going goblin mode on the same 4 accessory exercises at the end of every single session, head to the notes below and grab our free gymnastics program. It'll change the way you think about accessories forever.